If you're watching at a later time, feel free to DM us on Instagram at Great for Glioblastoma or send me an email and I can answer any follow-up questions you have. So I'll start by introducing myself. I wonder, I should hide this. Okay. Oops, sorry guys. Okay. My name is Kate Snedeker, and I go to the University of Texas at Austin. I am a future graduate of 2024, and I'm a youth and community studies major with a minor in business. And since I started college, I've been super involved in the event scene, from everything to wedding planning and corporate events to nonprofit events now. And I started Great for Glioblastoma in 2021, and we were approved late 2021 as a 501c3 and have now had 501c3 status for about a year and 3 months or so. So we are excited to share all of the work that we've been doing and what we're hoping to do in the future with everyone. So some background information about me and why I started Great for Glioblastoma. My dad was diagnosed in the beginning of 2021, in May of 2021. And I was very shocked upon hearing about this diagnosis. I had no idea what glioblastoma was. After Googling it, there was a lack of hope and positive information and just information in general. And throughout my dad's diagnosis, he was treated at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and Brigham and Women's for his glioblastoma. He had surgery twice, was involved in a clinical trial through Dr. Reardon, and who's an amazing researcher. And I know some of you guys work pretty closely with him, which is awesome. And he got my dad in this clinical trial, and he was in that for, I want to say about a year, or maybe a little less than that. And he had radiation, and he had radiation twice and chemo once, and then did some other non-traditional medicines. And unfortunately, he passed in March. And I look back at the whole time that he spent being diagnosed and really think about all the strength and hope he had and how much stronger he was than anyone else and how he carried himself. And I hope to carry on that legacy of hope and strength and hopefully make it to a day where nobody has to be diagnosed with glioblastoma and worry about it. And there will be a cure. And at this point, there's not. So that's basically how we started. Back to me finding out about my dad's diagnosis. One of the things that was the most surprising and frustrating and disappointing to me was searching glioblastoma as soon as my dad was diagnosed. Not only are you hit with the isolation of someone in your life has cancer, or you yourself have cancer, but then to search glioblastoma and see all of these negative things that pop up about life expectancy, about fatality, curability, and everything like that is just such an even more isolating impact. And I, for months, thought about it and thought about how devastating it must feel for everybody else as well that's impacted by glioblastoma, and also realized that there wasn't really a place to go for support and to feel that hope that my dad radiated. And I searched Instagram and social media and still also found nothing that was a place of community. And it was really hard for me to find other resources related to glioblastoma. So that's the main reason that we started, to provide one easy space for people to understand what glioblastoma is in a less harmful way and damaging mental health way, and just create that community of support and care and just that sense of community feel. So that's our overall goal, our mission outlined as a nonprofit. And we do this by creating a positive space on social media and providing different resources on our website, and also creating a space for community through events and raising money at events as well. And then we do some other things throughout the year for raising money. But our big goal is to create this space of hope and support, which I think that we have gotten a lot farther this past year, and I'm very happy with the reach that we have in terms of support and compassion, and obviously donating funds to leading cancer care centers and cancer research centers to hopefully turn this into a curable condition one day. So more on that, we made our first donation to Dana-Farber in February, and we donated $15,000 specifically for Dr. Reardon's research, because we believe he really is a trailblazer in the glioblastoma and brain tumor field. And we are confident that he is dedicated to his work and will make a big difference and stride forward to hopefully getting to a cure at some point. We launched the first community-based chat for glioblastoma, which is located in a software app called Geneva, and it gives people the opportunity to join breakout rooms and based on their impact with glioblastoma and their area and the reasons that they're wanting to join this community, whether it's needing just someone to talk to and relate to the feelings, or find someone in your area that can recommend a doctor or a surgeon, or a therapy group nearby, or just a friend to be able to go get coffee with who understands the struggle of a glioblastoma. And that we achieve that by having a ton of different groups where people can break out into groups based on their relationship to glioblastoma, whether you're a child of someone with glioblastoma, you're a caregiver, you're the power of attorney, you are the patient themselves, or you are a doctor or researcher just wanting to be more involved on the social side of glioblastoma. And then we have our biggest cities on there too, in order to find those resources for area support and asking for questions and feedback for specific areas. So we're really happy to have that. And it seems like it's been really beneficial for a lot of people, especially just having honest conversations about glioblastoma and the effects on mental health and physical health, and asking for advice on grief and all things diagnosis. And then community events, we've had a big community event, which was our launch party in the DC area. And we continue to have we continue to have events throughout the country, and bringing people together while raising awareness and funding. And then we tackled the social media influencer area of life and invited influencers to become part of our influencer program, which allows them to help us spread awareness and donate back to us by sending us gifts that they receive that they won't use and just stack up in their rooms and take up space. And then we have merchandise all year round, which provides the opportunity to continue to support Great for Glioblastoma wherever you are and whenever. And that's become one of our big projects, is wearing gray for glioblastoma, especially on Wednesdays. That's our big day where we share and again try to create that community feel and spread awareness, which ultimately will lead to more funding and ultimately to a cure. And so another important thing that we have on our website that was really important to me when creating this foundation was providing resources for those that either just search glioblastoma online after being diagnosed, or having a family member or friend diagnosed, or just wanting to learn more about it. We wanted to provide a space where everything was in one place and it wasn't difficult to find a specific support group or financial or caregiver network for glioblastoma. And because it can be difficult to find these things. And after a diagnosis, we want to just be able to put all that in one place so you don't have to work really hard on searching for resources that should be easy to find. So one of them is the Brain Bank Bill of Rights, which basically outlines the rights you have as a patient with brain cancer. And that's the right to all sorts of things, ranging from understanding your diagnosis to having the right people to explain your diagnosis, and being able to have a doctor and such. And the question guide for your care team is a really good resource going into a visit with your care team, not knowing much about glioblastoma and not knowing much about what you should do in the treatment protocol and just general care protocol, post-surgery, pre-surgery. Do you need surgery? Which medication do you go with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that kind of gives you a guide of good questions to ask. And then Brain Tumor Guide for the Newly Diagnosed, which was co-written by Dr. Friedman from Duke University, who's also a great surgeon and a really good resource. So this is super helpful in just explaining on a basic level what it means to have a brain tumor, what to do, and all the stuff that you may not know. And then Caregiver Network, financial services, and support groups, pretty self-explanatory. And I had gone over that a little bit, just being able to have those things specified for glioblastoma. And then we do also provide up-to-date glioblastoma news on our website. We try to update it once every few weeks to provide information on new, just general news that's out there about treatments, cures. And then we also provide information on clinical trials that are starting and clinical trials that have recently reported updates. And then lastly, the ABCs of GBM is a whole separate page with definitions for common words you hear with the glioblastoma diagnosis, explanations, the common symptoms based on where the glioblastoma is located, whether it's in the temporal lobe or the parietal lobe. The symptoms can vary, and the common medications that you'll hear and what those are and what they mean. So in the future, we're really hoping to continue to accumulate sponsors, hoping to get some bigger sponsors, corporate sponsors, to just help us pave the way towards finding a cure and be able to fund large projects and host large events that really bring in those profits. We do want to host events throughout the country, which means kind of establishing a lead in big cities across the country, and hopefully at some point across the world, to just kind of take charge in those cities and provide take lead of events and such throughout the country, and just being that base of support and communication, because I can only be in one place at one time. And then something that we're really working on for the fall is having ambassadors for different school clubs. So hopefully launching a Gray for Glioblastoma, so word I'm looking for, Gray for Glioblastoma, like not subdivision, but the word that's equivalent to that, at different schools, whether it's college or high school. We've had a few people start those already, which has been really great. And community events, we're hoping to do some more impactful events that really talk about glioblastoma and the effects of that mentally, physically, grief, and kind of creating that space for support for those that are really personally impacted. And then working on partnerships with big brands and continuing to grow through our events and social media and stuff like that. We've been able to reach a very large amount of people on social media, and greater than even our followers count and stuff like that, from the impact of people sharing and the reach that we have gotten has been pretty incredible. And so we want to continue that. And at the end of the day, we want everyone who's impacted by glioblastoma, whether it's by their own diagnosis, a parent, a friend, a family friend, or someone just in the medical field wanting to make a difference for people with glioblastoma. We want to be able to connect all those people to our space and be able to have everything in one place, the ability to donate, the ability to volunteer, the ability to see resources and connect with others, instead of having to go all over the place to find those things, because we feel that there is such a big need, for awareness and support and funding for this cancer type. And so furthering that, it's really, really important to continue to share our message on social media as often as possible, whether that's through Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even just emailing out things that we post about, or our website, or specific links that you think could help others. It's really important because the only way to reach everyone impacted is to share. And there may be someone that you know who's friends with someone who was impacted. And the only way for them to see it is for you to share it, and that friend to go ahead and share it with them. And so I've had a lot of people reach out to me after some of the influencers had shared us and said, like, I had no idea this space existed. I found it through this person. And so it just kind of highlights the impact of sharing, and you never know who was impacted, especially because it's somewhat difficult to talk about as a cancer type. Lead a branch in your area, start a club, wear our merchandise. We have super cute merchandise, and I always wear our It's Cool to Support Brain Cancer Research sweatshirt. And I get so many people just walking around asking me where my sweatshirt was from, or what it means, and what the message is, and stuff like that. And so that's really a good opportunity to explain and help people reach us. And come support at our events. We're hoping to, in the coming years, have events near everyone, and always accepting donations. It's really easy on our website to figure out if your company does donation matches, and always looking for sponsorships. And that is all I have for you guys, kind of the summed up version of everything we do. I had to make myself a PowerPoint, so I didn't talk about it forever, because I really could talk about Gray for glioblastoma and all the hopes and dreams I have for this organization and for this community of people, for the future. But I'd like to open it up to any questions if people have questions. And again, if you are watching this at a later date and have questions, feel free to reach out at any time. And we should get back to you pretty quickly with questions.
Kate, I actually have a question.
Yeah.
I hear the term gray for either wear gray or gray something in terms of glioblastoma in the neurosurgery, neuro-oncology community. Is that term something that you have coined?
So we launched our nonprofit with that name because gray is the cancer color for glioblastoma. Purple is the cancer color for cancer in general. So we kind of combine our logo is both purple and gray. And so we wear gray to raise awareness, because wearing that color just creates, and also to create support and create this like community feel for everyone that is impacted by brain cancer. And so, no, it was not coined by us. It was coined by, I think, the National Cancer Society as the cancer color for brain cancer. But it is definitely a big part of our mission to get people to wear gray, and all of our merchandise, for the most part, we do have some colors, but our most popular merchandise is gray. That was a good question.
And the quick follow-up question for that, why did you decide to choose the name Gray for Glioblastoma for your nonprofit?
So our project of wearing gray on Wednesdays actually came about before we were established as a nonprofit. This was in the early days where I didn't even know that I was going to apply for nonprofit status. I just knew that I needed to do something to make an impact for glioblastoma after just being heartbroken by the lack of awareness and resources. And so I knew I needed to do something, and I decided I wanted to do an event. And from there, it kind of it became this bigger thing where I was being told by family and friends to apply for nonprofit status. And from then, we were kind of brainstorming. Me and a couple family members were brainstorming about names. And I had started this project on our social media, which we had created as just the name of our event that we were going to be hosting, our one-time event. And I started urging people to wear gray on Wednesdays because of the movie Mean Girls. There's the quote that's on Wednesdays we wear pink. And so I kind of changed that up and said on Wednesdays we wear gray. And so I started getting family members and friends to all wear gray in support of my dad, in support of everyone else impacted by glioblastoma. And now we have so many supporters, so many Instagram followers that share gray with us every week, which has been incredibly empowering. And it's great to say, wear gray for glioblastoma, and that be our nonprofit name. So that's how it originated, and it stemmed from our original project that really resonated with me, and I got to see the impact it meant to my family and me when people wore gray, to support me, and for people to wear gray on a Wednesday without me having to remind them. They just thought of Wednesdays as gray day. And to see now the amount of people that wear gray on Wednesdays to support the brain cancer community. Any other questions for me? Let me see if there's any in the chat. So Gwen in the chat is asking, how can we find out about local branches near us and future events? I live in Ohio, but would love to get involved and volunteer. So, of course, following us on social media, we do tend to post about our local events, and we'll continue to post about future events in different cities, and definitely also joining our Geneva platform, because our Geneva space has different breakout rooms for cities where we will at some point be posting about local events within those cities. And there's also opportunities to join rooms that are specifically for volunteering. And yeah, hopefully at some point we'll have an event in every city. We don't have anything outlined in Ohio yet, but I do have a lot of family in Ohio, so hopefully going to reach that space at some point soon. But until then, there's a ton of ways to volunteer and help out virtually and remote, and hopefully at some point we'll make our way down to Ohio or up to Ohio, and we'll definitely share it on our social and post about it on our website. Oops. No problem. Any other questions for me? Feel free to type them in the chat if you're not comfortable sharing. Oh, I have one. So someone in the chat is asking about our work and how we could implement our work in in countries with low and middle income. And I definitely resonate with that because I think it's really important, even in the United States, to be able to provide these resources for people that may not. It was another part of the reasoning behind us sharing resources in one space, because my family was fortunate enough to have connections in the medical world where we could get my dad involved in a clinical trial, and he was able to live past the average prognosis for brain cancer, which is the average life expectancy. And a big part of why he lived so long, I believe, is because we had such good standard of care. And so for those that may not have access to the things that we had access to, such as the doctors and the ability to travel to Boston from the DC area to go and actually have his injections and stuff like that, was a privilege that we had and was based on who we knew. And so I think it's super important to be able to have these resources on our website for everyone to be able to access and for everyone to be able to use, even if you don't have the resources that we had, the connections that we had due to my stepmom being involved in the medical field. And also through Geneva, hoping to connect people with people that have worked with good surgeons in the area and stuff like that. I definitely think that our work could be really beneficial in other countries, especially low income and middle income countries. And I really hope that someday that we can get there, especially with, I think, looking into our influencer program and all of the different items we get donated. I think it would be really impactful to do some sort of care package or something with goods that we can't use to be donated to lower income families that may need assistance with finances and stuff like that. I think it would be helpful to be able to send care packages, whether that's donations that we receive that are monetary, like gift cards and for restaurants and such, or just for food, or different body products we receive and clothing and such. Another question we have: how can neurosurgeons, for example, Dr. Chioka, or I think that says or neuroscientists be involved with your organization? I think that there's a ton of ways for people in the neurospace and medical space actually working on procedures or doing research to be involved with gray for glioblastoma, because there's so much that needs to be done for this cancer type. And so through gray for glioblastoma, it could be really helpful as a resource to have neuroscientists or neurosurgeons be able to provide talks where they kind of share basic level information about glioblastoma, kind of dumb down the information so that the average person who may be diagnosed or has someone diagnosed or is just interested in glioblastoma and what we do, explain how it works, and just provide that that medical not diagnosis, or what's the word I'm looking for? Provide that information that I can't necessarily provide without a certification or a license, because I can only say so much before it becomes crossing the line of something I can't say due to medical restrictions and such. So being able to, and I also don't have the education of a lot of scientists and med students and people that work in surgery or medicine. And so I think it would be really powerful for some people to get involved in that arena and be able to maybe host talks where they answer questions or answer general questions that we can post on our Instagram. And also we would always love to just stay updated on research. And let's see what else. At events, it's always great to have speakers. And providing like graphics maybe in order to share with our audience and be able to provide what does an actual I did a behind the scenes. My dad got his second surgery of looking at the MRI and what it meant to for it to be surgery day and stuff like that, and just kind of provided photos and stuff like that of our journey at Brigham and Women's. And I think that was a lot of people responded to that with the ability to see more clearly what it's like to have to go through a surgery. And so having that kind of stuff is always really helpful. And then I was thinking of one other thing that I was at the top of my mind. Also, of course, like sharing our space with, oh, I keep doing that. Keep sharing our space with their patients or their community to, again, you know, make their patients feel more comfortable and able to battle this cancer type and have that internal strength from having a support system that roots for you and elicits hope and all that kind of stuff. And I still can't think of the other thing I was going to say. But I will get back to you on that if I think of it. This thing keeps going away. Maybe I'll stop the screen share. Does anyone else have any questions for me? Even if it's just super general, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, well, if anyone else doesn't have any questions, thank you so much, Kate, for coming on and sharing your story, sharing about your organization. And thank you, Gwen, Matteo, JP for joining the meeting. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. It was great to share, and I hope to do this again soon.
Definitely.
Okay. Bye, guys.